How flexible am I? Well, I can do this. No problem. Hello, ye lads, lasses, and anyone in between. My name's KP, aka Sir Legless Lad. And this week we're going to be talking about my legs. Not these legs. Now, perhaps my username has been a little bit misleading in the fact that I actually do have legs, but it was more getting at the fact that these things are detachable and they come off and people say that I have no legs. I have no feet. Well, I have kind of a foot. Or is it my hand now? I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I realized that in most of my videos I'm talking about my upper half with my hands because I think that's mostly what people have been asking about, and usually that's more noticeable than the prosthetic legs. Most people who meet me in real life don't know that I have prosthetic legs right away. In fact, I've known some people for months and they had no idea until for some reason I took my legs off. Or I told them the story of how I became disabled and they were like, wait, you don't have feet? But even as far as amputees go, I am not part of the norm. I swear, anywhere I go in life, you know, with medical professionals or with the people who make prosthetics, everybody's like, you're a unique case. And I'm like, great. So I figured I'd talk about why I'm such a unique case. So first thing that we're going to talk about with my legs is how very short they are. Now, when I first got sick, that infection, as you know, messed up a lot of things. A few of the things that it also messed up were the growth plates in my bones. Basically, in your bones, there's a specific part of it that's meant for growing. But with how bad that infection was, especially in the lower half, it just messed up the growth plates a lot. So that's why my legs and why my forearms are so short. These must have grown a little bit, but not much. Speaking of growth plates, it was very weird because not all of the growth plates were broken. For those of you who don't know, quick anatomy lesson. In your calf, there are two bones that are part of the calf. And so one is your shin bone, which is called the tibia, and then there's another one along the side that's called the fibula. Now, for whatever reason, the fibula growth plate was not broken. So this was growing, this was not. So the bone was bowing out like this. This isn't even an exaggeration. It was like that on both of them. So they're pretty straight now, but they were bowing out pretty far before. And that caused a lot of pain. So when I was in 5th grade, I believe, I had to have surgery. They went into the leg and they shaved off the extra bone that I didn't need because it was bowing out. And then they went in and they broke the growth plate for me. And that actually fixed a lot of things. And after that, I was able to start walking without my prosthetic. Before that, if I didn't have the prosthetics on, I would have to crawl around everywhere. Now, I got really good at crawling and I was very fast, but yeah, walking is much better. Speaking of walking with my prosthetics off, this is not a normal thing that amputees can do. I think because it wasn't an emergency type of situation where I had to get them amputated really quickly, they were able to kind of plan out what they were going to do, and there wasn't anything wrong with the actual foot itself. So when they amputated my feet, they actually took the pad on the heel, so they just took that part off and stuck it on the bottom, and they call it end-bearing. I'm an end-bearing amputee. Because most of the time when people get their feet amputated, they just kind of sew it back together, however, and then there's just bone on the end. And it's not very comfortable to just put all of your weight on bone. So luckily they were able to do that for me. And so I'm very thankful to be able to walk without my prosthetics because it's very convenient for just doing stuff around the house. The next interesting bit about my legs is the size difference between my calves and my thighs. Because my thighs are very thick. I've got some thick thighs. I got some muscle in there. But my calves since they don't move anything, they're very small, which is not really an issue. It's more just weird. And I never really noticed this until I go to my prosthetist, and he always likes to point out the size difference, because usually for a lot of people, they like to have, so they put the leg on and it's up to their knee, and then there could be another sleeve or something that goes up further onto the thigh, and that doesn't really work for me. Because anytime that I try to put that sleeve on, it always ends up rolling back down. So yeah, I don't like using those. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but my legs don't straighten all the way. This right here, this is me like flexing. This is as straight as it goes. Like I said, that initial infection messed up a lot of things. And it affected my knees too. But yeah, so my knees don't straighten all the way. And again, this is one of those, like, it's not really an issue, it's just kind of annoying. Especially since I could probably be an inch taller if these would just straighten all the way. I've had lots of x-rays done to over my whole body, but we're talking about my knees right now. And my mother has lovingly referred to my knees as looking like meatballs, because usually there's a bone and a bone, and that's the knee. But for me, it's more like a bone, a bunch of mush, and then another bone. So yeah, they're real messed up. Now let me show you just how messed up they are. So you know, your knees are supposed to go this way, but my knees also go this way. That's not supposed to happen. Yeah, your knees are not supposed to move in this direction, so they're real messed up. Also, I don't know if you've noticed while I'm doing this, but my kneecaps move. If you get queasy or a little weird from body things, maybe don't watch this, because I'm about to move my kneecaps. It's a little bit more dramatic if I go like this, and then I can move it just like that. It kind of does it on both of them. This one is definitely worse though. Because I don't have a heel anymore, I don't have an Achilles tendon, so I'm very flexible in my legs. I did put the beginning as a joke, but I really am pretty flexible. I can pretty much fold in half here. And this is pretty comfortable. And I can go to either side. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. It was funny, when I was still working out before the pandemic happened, I was in a small group, my squad, my workout squad, love you guys. Anytime we did anything, I knew that I was gonna be, you know, the slowest or not picking up as much weight as everybody else, but when it came to stretching, always the best. I was always the best stretcher. If you want to see me do a workout video, make sure to comment down below and let me know, and I can try to get my squad together for a socially distanced workout, and we can record it and you can see how I work out. You can see how I modify things and how my trainer and I have worked together to figure out what works for me. So I don't know if you've noticed throughout the video, but my calves don't really have hair except for in certain places, like right here or right here. If you had watched my first video, you'd know that I lost the circulation to those, and so the skin kind of died, and so I had to get a bunch of skin grafts done. And so basically what that means is they took skin from other places on my body and they put it on my leg so that I could still have skin. I know that sounds weird, but that's a very simplified version of what they did. And so because of that, I don't have any hair that grows there because of all the scar tissue and skin grafts. And I also don't sweat on my calves. But because I don't sweat on my calves, that means the rest of me sweats a lot. I'm a very sweaty person, and I'm sure this did not help. So I said that I don't use these muscles at all, but the muscles are still there and I can still flex them. So this part is, I can still kind of move it, but it's like, what is the point? Because this one's a little weirder because I don't really have as much control over what's happening. But like, there's something happening up here. Technically I can still move them, but it's kind of like, there's not really a point because they're not doing anything. So I don't use them in my everyday life. Alright, for this last part, I figured since we've been talking about the legs, we should bring in the legs. And I would show you how I actually put these things on. It occurred to me that not everybody knows how that works. So, these are the liners, and these go directly onto my leg. And they have this pin in the bottom. It has these little grooves on it, and those go into a hole that's at the bottom of the socket. So this is the socket that it goes into, and then if you look in the bottom, there's a little hole, and that's what that pin goes into, and then that locks into place. And then to unlock it, there is a button that's on the inside, and that releases it. It's kind of hard to see because I have this cover on, but there's a button right here, and I just press that in and then it'll release. So let's put these bad babies on, right side out. So we need to turn this inside out first, and then this inside part is made of silicone. It's sticky, and so it'll stick to my leg. I just gotta position it, we gotta do that, and then roll it on up. Make sure that my shorts aren't in there because that's not very comfortable or very fashionable. And then we just repeat the same process on this side. And then from there, see, I have the pin sticking out of the bottom now. So then I just go in there, and I go in there. And then from here, I usually just stand up, and then you can hear it clicking into place. And the more clicks you hear, the further in it's gonna go, and the less the leg is gonna move around. And then this is kind of an annoying thing. My shorts always get caught in these. And then I just do that. And we do that. And we're done. That's how I put those on. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I really appreciate it. If there's anything else about either my prosthetics or about my hands or anything, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. I'll be happy to make a video about pretty much anything. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button and then ring the bell so that you can get notifications every time I post a video every Thursday. And with that, thank you all so much. Sir Legless Lad, out.